Have you worked with the wrong people in the wrong place and ached to just escape and start something new and find a sense of belonging?
Well, that is the premise of a new book called Getting Huge. And so interesting, the title in itself. To tell us more about what we want to welcome John Young. And great to have you back on CINCY Lifestyle. You were here before.
Thank you.
So this book is number 3 for you. Without giving away too much, tell us about Getting Huge. The title intrigues me so much.
Well, there are a lot of problems that are getting huge for this man. This man's 6'11". He's a minister who becomes obsessed with growing the world's largest pumpkin.
What?
So he's huge. His problems are getting huge with his deacons and his wife and his family, and he's got a lot of problems going on. But it's kind of an absurd story that has a serious undercurrent. You know, just like Pete was saying, there's that element of, you know, being in the wrong place with the wrong people, struggling to find a way to be successful.
And he does like a deep dive with this, you know, in the business world, that sort of thing. One thing that I thought was interesting, John, you wrote this from the first person perspective. So we're kind of like hearing him tell his story.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
And do you like writing that way, or?
Well, I kind of like setting a new challenge for myself with every project. So in this case, it felt like first person made the most sense because he's a quirky character who's kind of lost and breaking, if you will, and he's trying to find his way. And it seemed like a fun way to get inside his head and to kind of explore the absurdity of it. And we as readers see his reactions to things. We go, stop, you know, don't do that.
Right.
But he does it, of course. He charges headlong into all kinds of problems.
Which makes for a more interesting book, I bet, too. What was the part of the book that was most fun to write for you?
I think just imagining what it would be like to be 7 feet tall and to be roaming around these little houses in New England where he's ducking and trying not to bang his head, and some of those humorous elements, as well as the idea of creating to try to grow this giant pumpkin. I've never grown a giant pumpkin, but it was fun to imagine that and do some research on it and find out how people do it.
I'm just curious if part of that research was going to the Circleville Pumpkin Show just up the road. I know.
Michelle asked me that earlier. No, I haven't been there, but I'm going this fall for sure.
Yeah.
It started for me back when I lived north of Boston. We went to the Topsfield Fair where they have the giant pumpkin weigh-in, and I just happened to be there. And I looked at these pumpkins, and I'd grown up in Indiana near a pumpkin farm, and they had nothing like these. I mean, an adult could sit inside one of these giant pumpkins, and I kept thinking,
what do you do with that?
Yeah, wait a minute. Why does someone do it? What do you do with it once it's grown?
Right.
And I guess they haul it to these weigh-ins and see if they can win. And I kept thinking, you know, what compels someone to seek that success, that form of success? Right. And so I imagined this character.
Did you ever find out?
Well, I think my reader has to find out. This is at least my answer to that question.
Well, I know it's very relatable content in here. What do you hope people take away from Getting Huge?
Yeah, thank you for that. I think that it is relatable. A lot of us find ourselves working with the wrong people in the wrong place. And in this case, what I'm really trying to get to is that all of us belong somewhere, and we have a right to try to find that place and to, you know, work among people who appreciate us and be in that environment. And this is kind of John Crackstone's journey as he tries to find that sense of belonging.
I love that. I think a lot of people with the pandemic have been trying to find that space, you know, where you feel comfortable, you belong there, and you're passionate about what you do.
Yes, the great resignation and quiet quitting kind of resonate against this narrative.
Yeah.
Well, quickly, I know you have an event coming up tomorrow?
I do, yes. I'll be at Joseph-Beth here in Cincinnati. I'll be there at 7 o'clock with the brilliant woman, Professor Kelly Blewett, and she's going to be asking me questions. We'll have a book chat. I'll do a little bit of reading, and then I have another reading on May 4th at Studio Kroner here in Cincinnati.
Awesome. John, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I'm going to read this book now.
Yes.
Definitely going to read it. Getting Huge.
And I'm suddenly craving pumpkin pie. I don't know why.
All right. And your fans can learn more about the book and a little bit more about my other books at johnyoungwriter.com.
All right, we'll do it, John. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely.